upon this hunter-gatherer idea of a human being far before our world came, this modern world we live in, had to wake up and do hard things. It was so important to our survival. When we woke up, we'd have a nice amount of dopamine and we'd immediately take action and do challenging stuff. Nowadays, the opposite of that occurs. We wake up, we've got this abundance of dopamine sitting there, and then it's straight to the phone. And I understand like this is hard to break. My whole work in this space comes from my own addictions to these things. Like I got an iPhone when I was like 11 years old. So to me, my whole life has been sitting on an iPhone basically. And I spent 10 to 15 years waking up, going straight into the phone. And fundamentally, if you develop the discipline to have a 30-minute window before you go into the phone, and we can talk through what the steps in there would include to resist it, that's going to then set that discipline within your life to I have the capacity to resist it. And then once you start training this discipline in, your capacity to resist it in other times in your day will grow as well.
The fact that you've been using a phone since you're 11 years old kind of puts into perspective, because I got my first phone when I was 14, but it was one of those phones where you still had to like key in a ringtone.
Yeah,
right?
you had to earn the dopamine.
Yeah, we had to earn the dopamine. I used to sit there for like 30 minutes keying in a ringtone so that I could have my favorite song be my ringtone.
For sure. And you had like a few songs on there. You didn't have loads of novelty, loads of different stuff.
Yeah, that's so fascinating, this idea of earning something. And I feel like when you wake up in the morning, it's almost like we want life to be easier and simpler, and everything in our lives becomes so instant, whether it's food, coffee, anything, like, right? We're looking for something that's quick. How do we train ourselves to be like, oh, I should earn something? Like, how do you even make that mindset shift of actually earning something's good versus having it be ready made for me?
I think right at the core of that, it comes down to, are you wanting a life where you're in the pursuit of pleasure and just like momentarily feeling good? Or do you want like a really happy, fulfilling experience of life? And I struggled a lot with various addictions. I struggled a lot with alcohol, as you and I have discussed, social media, pornography, all these very dopaminergic activities. And ultimately, if you really spend some time with your mind, I think you have to spend prolonged period of times in nature, chatting to yourself about your lifestyle. And if you start really considering like, is this current lifestyle I have where I work a bit and then I get my pleasure from my phone, and then I do another activity and then I get my pleasure from my phone, is that ultimately creating a life that you're really loving? Or is it just creating momentary experiences of pleasure?